Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to create a simple crawler that extracts quotes from a website using Serritor Cloud. To launch Serritor Cloud, click on its icon in the extension toolbar. First, we are going to create a new project. Click the New button at the top right corner. Enter the name of the project. We will call it Quotes in this case. Click the Save button to create it. Once our project is created, we will be presented with the project page. We will need to first configure our crawler. Click the Crawler Configuration button. On this page, you will see a list of settings for the crawler. We will need to provide a crawl seed, which is basically a starting URL. Use the Get URL button to get the current page URL. Click the Save button to save the configuration. We can now go back to the project page by clicking on the name of the project in the navigation bar. The next step is to define an item which will represent the structure of the data that we would like to extract from the page. Click the Item Definitions button. Click the New button at the top right corner. Enter the name of the item. We will call it Quote in this case. We will define two fields for our item: a text field, which will contain the quote text, and an author field, which will contain the name of the author. Click the Save button to create the item. We can now go back to the project page. The final step is to define the commands that tell the crawler how to crawl the page. Click the Crawling Templates button. Click the New button at the top right corner. Enter the name of the template. We will call it Quotes Page. We also need to provide a pattern. If the pattern matches the page URL, the template will be executed. Use the Get URL button to get the current page URL. Click the Save button to save the template. We are not done yet. We will need to edit the commands. Click the Edit icon. A form will appear. This is where you can specify the commands to execute. We will need to iterate over the list of quote elements. To do this, we will use the forEach command. Use the Find button to locate the elements. Hover over an element to see its details, such as its ID and classes. We will provide an XPath expression to select all elements with the class quote. As you can see, it highlights all the elements that match our expression. We also need to provide a variable name. This is what we will use to refer to the current element in the iteration. The variable will contain the element's XPath expression. The next command we need is store text. This command will save the content of the element matched by the locator. We want to save the quote text into a variable. We will use the same name for the variable that we used in the item definition. Use the Find button again to find out details about the quote text element. To specify the locator, we will need to use our previously defined iterator variable. The next command will also be store text. Similarly to the previous command, we will save the name of the author into a variable. Once we have all the required fields of our item, we can save the item itself. The next command is store item. We need to provide the name of the item, which is quote in our example. We need to close the for each block. This is what the end command is for. Because there are multiple pages, the crawler will need to repeat the same steps for each page. We need to check if a next button exists on the current page. The next command is store element count. This will save the number of matching elements into a variable. We need to provide a variable name. We will use next button count. We also need to provide a locator. You can use the find button again. The next command we will need is the if command. We will check the next button count variable if it's larger than 0. If it is, we want to crawl the next page. We can use the crawling command for that. This will add the URL specified by the link to the list of crawl requests. We will use the same locator which we used to find the next page button. We need to close the if block, so we add an end command. That's it. Click the Save button to save the template. We can now go back to the project page and launch our crawler. Click the Run Crawler button at the top right corner. A new crawl job will be created. On this page, you can follow the progress of the crawler in real time. Once the crawler is finished, you can see the list of items it has extracted from the website. You can also download this data, so you can further process it if necessary. I hope you found this video helpful. You can find more information about Serritor Cloud in the video description. Thank you for watching.